They aren't slick. They are not slick, Hawks fans. That injury report has been pretty consistent with two players in particular. And I know Anthony Davis has been the flavor of the month lately. But Hawks fans, have we really forgotten about a topic of discussion that we've been talking about ever since last summer? Welcome back to Hawks Digest, everyone. I'm Chris Tipmore. Go ahead and take off those shoes, leave on those socks, because I got a Q&A type of a video for you guys. I got some things that I want to bring to you guys' attention, just, to keep your eyes on things, because they are not slick. We haven't forgotten, and we're about to get into it. But before I get into that, allow me to get into this. Before we get into the news today, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. When you download Kalshi using the link below, make sure you're entering code DIGESTNBA. That is DIGESTNBA, and you'll get 20 when you trade your first 100. Now, Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the US, and you can trade yes or no in real life events, sports, elections, pretty much anything. And they have you covered in all 50 states. Yes, that's including the state of Georgia. And guys, you can really trade on different outcomes, including this outcome right here. Right now, the New England Patriots are scheduled to have 70% chance of winning the AFC Championship game. But if you go with the Denver Broncos with that small 31% chance, and if you put 20 bucks on them, you could possibly win $61 just off of taking a chance on the Denver Broncos possibly upsetting the New England Patriots. It's using Kalshi is just another genuinely smart way to use your sports knowledge, and you can also close positions whenever you want. Again, download Kalshi. Use the link in the description, and don't you forget to make sure you put in Digest NBA, and you'll get the $20 bonus. And thank you again to Kalshi for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the news. Yes, yes. Make sure y'all using Digest NBA, y'all, and that for that promo code. But all right, let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. Let me bring my picture up here. Kristaps Porzingis. Now, it has been reported that Kristaps Porzingis, who has missed now the last 6 games due to a left Achilles tendonitis, he's progressing, but he will be reevaluated in approximately 1 week. Reevaluate. Cringe. Cringe. Like, I always feel that way about that. Now, Kristaps Porzingis, he has missed a total of 27 games for the Atlanta Hawks, including 11 games being due to load management. Now, he's also had the mysterious illness. That's about 10 games. And of course, currently what he's dealing with the 6 games with that Achilles tendonitis. Now, something else that I want to get into is my former rook, Zaccharie Risacher. Zaccharie Risacher has also missed 8 games so far this season. You remember 2 he had a miss earlier in the season, and he also had missed a game or 2 when he was day to day when he was ruled out. He missed like a game against the Phoenix Suns. He returned, but then he was listed day to day, and then he also missed 2 games due to ankle injury again. Now he has the 6 consecutive days, so a total of 10 games missed. But Zaccharie Risacher, at the same time, he is being reevaluated, guys, for the left knee bone contusion. Now, that left knee bone contusion, originally, it was left knee inflammation. But I'm assuming that they went back and they kept doing tests, reevaluating, and they came to the conclusion that it is a left knee bone contusion. And he's approximately about a week out from being reevaluated as well. So again, that word reevaluate, again, I've never liked that word because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get your player back. It just means they're going to be reevaluated to see how far they've come along and how close they are to the mark of getting back on the court. So those 2 things are going on right there, right? But we also have to keep an eye on this as well. The fact that Zach Lowe, he has came out and said some things, and I'm gonna get into that in 1 second. But before I get into that, Onsi Saleh, We know that Onsi Saleh is trying to either improve the roster this season, or he could possibly wait into the offseason and wait till some of these contracts to fall off. That's what I've been really saying to do. If you guys have been following my videos, I've been telling you the Hawks possibly should just run it out with the team that they have right now. See how far they can get. Let the chemistry build between players that you know are going to be here, like the Jalen Johnsons, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and allow them to continue to grow, especially with JJ being in this situation now, being thrust into the number one position. It's a difference between thinking that you're the number one and knowing that you're the future, and the future becomes now. So life comes at you fast, and JJ is figuring it out. He's figuring it out what it is being like the number one option, and when they try to take you away, and he's still finding his way. Give him some time. He's adjusting. But moving, like I was saying about Onsi Saleh and his optionality and being able to be versatile around the trade deadline, right now we still are. But it's interesting because those two players that I just named have been in reports about being traded. And when I come back to Zach Lowe has been one of those guys that have been reporting stuff like this. Zach Lowe NBA also had this to say. I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna let you guys, as I put him on the big screen here, listen to what Zach Lowe had to say. Here's Zach.
It's not just us that are tracking it. There's a whole bunch of teams around the league, the Hawks, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Heat, maybe the Knicks, that are sort of thinking to themselves, do we need to keep all of our stuff and wait for Giannis to maybe become available, whether it's now or in the summer when the Bucks can offer him an extension? And if he doesn't take that extension, that's the same thing as basically demanding a trade. But that's the summer. Right now, the Bucks are only 5-5 since he came back from injury. They are getting shellacked every second that he's off the floor on the bench resting. They're still in 11th in the East. And the time to convince him that this group can actually do anything serious might be now. And so do they even watch this game that Ja Morant just played and say, hey, do we need to look at a guy like that to come in and help us now instead of waiting till February 15th? Do we need to act sooner rather than later? Because the whole league is watching. If they slide any further down the standings, if they can't even get up to 10th or 9th in the East, does Giannis push the button now instead of waiting until the summer? The biggest story in the NBA potentially.
Whew. You heard what the man just said. Potentially the biggest story in the NBA. And when we look at Giannis in 28 games, he is still putting up all-star numbers. He is still being one of the dominant forces in the NBA. At 29 minutes per game, he's averaging nearly 29 points, 28.8, 9.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists. But you look at the 40% from three, even though he doesn't shoot them much, and how efficient he is, of course, around the rim and just around in the inside portion of the courts, 64%. So Giannis is still playing at an all-star level. And when you think about that for the Atlanta Hawks, especially at the report that was just made by Zach Lowe, looking at Zaccharie Risacher and Kristaps Porzingis, who were both on the bench today for the game against the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm not saying they didn't look like they was unhealthy. You know, Zach had his threads on. Kristaps with the hoodie material looking real comfortable. But those guys have been consistently out of the lineup. And you remember how Trae Young was out of the lineup with the contusion and with the quad contusion. Not saying that he's not hurt, because I mean Washington is holding him out. That can be for any reason of their own prerogative, and that's on them. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at who is still here with the Atlanta Hawks, and could they possibly be on the move? Could the Atlanta Hawks and Onsi Saleh be possibly poised and waiting to see if Giannis is ready to push that button that Zach Lowe was talking about and say, hey, look, we're not getting anywhere. Let me go ahead and get up out of here while I can, or possibly just wait until the offseason and possibly go after him then. Regardless, I'm looking at guys being hurt, and you'll only be a week out from that trade deadline when they guys be reevaluated. So I'm looking at those things, guys, And I'm just wondering, and please, by all means, I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Could it be any smoke to this? Could it, because where they say is smoke, there's fire. Could it be some kind of way to where guys are just sitting out? Possibly. I'm not saying we're that type of organization, guys. I'm just saying to keep your eyes on things. And I'm just wondering because I was sitting back and I'm just looking at the totality of it all. And again, Anthony Davis was the flavor of the month. But Giannis has been a topic we've been talking about since the summertime. And you probably guys have noticed that I have this MLK jersey on because before I get up out of here, I have an announcement to make. The Atlanta Hawks have made the announcement official. The MLK jerseys will be back next season. Now, a little history about the MLK jerseys. January 18th, 2021, the MLK jerseys debuted, and throughout the season, including the playoffs, the Atlanta Hawks were 9-1. So, again, the MLK jerseys will be back, and they may need to retire those Peachtree jerseys because right now they've been a bad omen for the Atlanta Hawks. And the Atlanta Hawks are now 0-5 in the Peachtree jerseys this season. Now they had some tough matchups, Pistons here, Celtics there, Bucks today. They had the Spurs, Clippers, but regardless, they're still 0-5 in those jerseys. But MLK will be back across the chest next season, guys. But that's all I have for you today. Until next time, guys, peace and blessings to you all. Go Hawks, and I will holler.